Marie here, and today I am taking you through, it's a Lori Whitlock SVG cut file situation for a card storage box, and I'm attempting to make it. I attempted. And I did succeed in the end, but it was a little touch and go throughout. So first, I'm just pulling out some paper. This is a collection pack from Bo Bunny. I didn't actually buy this. It was included like a gift with purchase type thing for a purchase that I'd made with 12 by 12 Cardstock Shop when I was replenishing my cardstock last year. And I actually really liked it. I normally don't gravitate towards Bo Bunny all the time. Sometimes it's just because of the color choices. Like I'm much more of a bright, saturated color person, but more muted colors really are more usable often. It's just not what I tend to buy. So when I saw this pack, I knew it would be perfect for making some gifts and some cards and stuff like that. And so it's the first thing I thought of when I decided I wanted to make this card storage box. So my first problem was I was using, I believe, some Stampin' Up! Cardstock that I bought secondhand on Facebook Marketplace, and it's really good cardstock, right? Like it's good, thick stuff. And my first mistake was that I did this as a single cut on my silhouette. I have not the original silhouette portrait, but like the second one. So almost the OG silhouette portrait. And so it's still doing great. Like it's fine, but the double cut was like a feature that I don't think was even a thing when I first had my machine. And so I just often forget about that setting, and I don't use my machine often enough that I remember it all the time. So yeah, my first mistake was single cut. I did end up cutting like a whole second batch of cuts, and I did remember to do a double cut for those. But you see me sanding some rough edges as we go through and some other things to kind of take care of where I had to trim it out physically with scissors or just like actually ripped it apart. Okay, so then the next problem, as I'm putting this together, I started with my ATG, and my ATG would have been fine. But I switched to score tape because, score tape's kind of, for me anyway, the gold standard dry adhesive. Like it holds no matter what, right? So I wanted this to be really good and sturdy and usable for her. And so I switched to the score tape. That comes back to bite me later. So at this point, I've assembled the base of the box and I'm ready to attach the top. And I'm kind of looking at it to try to decide exactly, where it's going to fall, make sure that I've folded everything correctly, and that I'm moving forward with the score tape. I haven't yet noticed the mistake that I made. So we'll see. We'll see when I figure that out. So I have my box assembled. It's quick and easy. It's that quick and easy. That's something that I love about silhouette cuts. But one of those papers got damaged. It's where, the machine pulled it back in and just like literally chewed it up because of my poor settings and my poor mat maintenance too. That was definitely a part of the problem. So what you saw me doing was I dampened the paper, and then I used my flat iron on it, and that was to smooth it back out, make it straight and flat again, so it was still usable. There's going to be, some slight imperfection, so I did put that piece on the back, but in general, I rescued that panel and was able to use it. All right, so now I'm going through and I'm finding more rough edges, so I'm just going to smooth those down. And I'm trying to decide how I want to lay out the tabs. So I'd cut out a couple sets, and I thought I was so smart, and I just cut out 2 of the same side, but I forgot to cut out more middle tabs. So that wasn't as smart as I wanted to think I was. I thought, oh, well, I can just flip it around, right? But you can't flip a middle tab around. So I still needed a middle tab. So I kind of fussed with it a little bit to figure it out. And this is where I figured out I had my accordion sides, I put them on facing the same way on both sides. It's not a huge deal, thankfully, because I end up just doing the same thing over and over and over again, as you're about to see. But since they were on the same side, when you assemble everything and then put things inside it, it all bows to the right slightly. If I had put it flipped the other way, that piece would be bowing slightly to the left or the center of the box, and it would have held it back together better. But since I put them both facing the same way, they both kind of gave a little to the right, and that made the whole card box feel a little, I don't know, sway backed almost, but not backed, sway side. I don't know. So, I thought, well, that's fine. I'm going to pull it off and I'll rescue it. And so that's what I did. That's what I always do, is I always try to find like some way to fix it and rescue it. So I rubbed off all the adhesive, tried to smooth it out, put the score tape back on, and I did it exactly the same way again. So that's me realizing I just put it on the same way. Well, fine, I'll just fix this one because I already fixed the other one. I don't want to tear it up and chew it up more, right? So I'll just fix this one again. I'll flip it around. So I go through the whole rescue process again. I get everything all situated. I double checked, but then right there, when I turned it around, I put it on backwards again. Do you see what I mean? So up at the top of the screen, you can see that the folds are going out, going up the screen. And I just did the exact same thing again. So I don't think I'd realized it yet, but I will when I go to push down the side. And at this point, I'd already redone them twice. So I didn't want to redo them again. I was super mad at myself. That's why I just like threw the box down right there. And I'm debating like, okay, should I rip this apart again? But it's got score tape. I don't know if I should rip it apart again. So then I'm putting the binders back in, and I'm sorry that this is off a frame, but I was so mad. I was like literally sitting back in my chair, just so exasperated with myself. And I ended up putting them in and just like fiddling with it enough that it was fine. I wasn't going to redo it again. It was going to be fine. It was going to be fine. I needed to move on. So I decided to move on to decorating the front of the card box. So far everything I've done has been in the cut file. It's been the actual pieces in the cut file and I just cut them out. But now I'm going to add a little strip across the front so that I can customize it a little bit more and dress it up for my recipient. So I'm just going through my ribbons and my trims, my floss, and I'm picking out anything that I think kind of goes with the feel, the vibe, the colors of the card box. I really wanted to find a small, subtle way to bring in the aqua, but there really is a lot of aqua going on the box anyway, so I decided that wasn't really super necessary and that neutrals would be fine. So I knew I also wanted to sparkle it up a little bit, so I pulled out some of the little dewdrop type gems. And then I got the sticker pack from the collection pack so I could go through and see if there's any I could use. I was thinking I wanted kind of a landing page, a landing spot that I could use to embellish from. So like some sort of focal image. And I thought, the cut apart sheet would be a great place to find that. So I thought I would start with like a ticket or a frame. None of those really spoke to me, and so I decided instead I was going to use this cut apart with a flower, except then I really liked that frame. I just wasn't sure how that, it was too big for sure, right, to fit on the front of my box. So I kind of set it aside and didn't think about it and decided to move on to the actual strip. When I put the strip down, I realized all of these pretty pattern paper pieces, I have put them onto a craft base. And so everything has a small craft border. So I wanted to do the same thing for the border strip to kind of tie everything together. So I matted it on some of the scrap craft cardstock that I had, made sure to trim it as closely, kind of a similar border spacing as was on the box itself, and then attached it to the front of my box. All right, so I did realize I needed to prepare my trims because I knew I wanted to kind of wrap them around the strip to secure them. So I went ahead and committed to these. I got them ironed out, but then I realized I also really do need to commit to what the landing spot's going to look like that I'm going to embellish around. So I realized that flourishy frame was really perfect with the style of this box, so I pulled out a Spellbinders die that I have that's pretty fussy that I thought would mimic it really well. Hi there. And then I got out my gold mirror cardstock and decided I would cut from there. And did you see what I did? I got those trims all ready because I knew I wanted to secure them under the strip. And I just forged right ahead and didn't do it. But that's fine. It'll be fine. It's okay. So I went ahead and ran this through, and now I'm just doing the tedious but crazy satisfying job of weeding my image. So I knew I wanted a little sentiment or something in the center, and so I went through my stamped sentiments and thought I'd found one that I liked, the For You, but it was clipping it on the corners, and I kept trying to not let it bother me, but it kept bothering me. So then I took my die, this is the little oval die for that centerpiece, and I kept trying it on things that already existed so I don't have to, recreate everything. Maybe I can use something that already exists, but everything was just slightly off. It would be showing like a little bit of white, or it would be clipping the word. So I ended up going back to my stamps. And I just flipped over the original sentiment and stamped the back side of it. And that's what I'm going to use on the label there. So I just used glue dots for all of the adhering here because they're just so nice and strong, and they adhere even to like that foil mirrored cardstock. So I just kind of slathered them on. Hot glue would work too. I just don't normally keep like a hot glue gun in my space. It's in my other crafty space, and I have a bunch of glue dots I need to use up. So that was part of what I was thinking. This is where I realized, I really do need more than just the one flower, and I wasn't sure where I could get them from, and so I kind of went back to that flourishy frame. I looked in my scraps too, and there were some that I could use, but this one was in a nice big cluster, so it worked. It was kind of the easiest and quickest to cut out, so I just went for it. All right, so this is where I go back to build my little cluster of flowers. I decided I wanted them on the right-hand side, at least the bulk of it. And I also realized at this point that I had not put my trims on, so I was going to have to figure that out. And I ended up doing them on that same end because it was easiest and quickest to kind of pull it back up so I could tuck those underneath. First, I tried to like shimmy it underneath like dental floss or something, but I realized no, I'm really going to have to pull this up. So I just pulled it up really carefully. I went really slow. And then I added another piece of score tape after I had done that to really stick everything back down. And it tore it just a little bit underneath, but not really bad. And, there's all that stuff piled on top of it now, the strip and the label and the flowers and the ribbon. So it was fine. That's often what I discover is it's fine. Once everything's piled on top, it's fine. All right, so then I did add a few dewdrops. Unfortunately, it was out of frame, so I didn't show that part, but you can barely see them anyway. They're just in a little visual triangle around the label. I added a little Velcro in the closure so that it would stay shut, so she can just keep it out like on a table or stuff it in a closet, but either way, it'll stay shut. And I hope you liked this project. If you want to see more, then please feel free to subscribe. That would be awesome. And I will see you Friday for my new weekly wrap up. And I hope you have a great week. All right. Bye.